all parts of the globe. But first up, the news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu, and greetings to our listeners. Over 100 members of Uganda's biggest opposition party have been charged with various offences, including unlawful assembly related to violence around last week's election. That's according to court documents and an opposition official. At least 118 members of the opposition of the National Unity Platform were taken to various courts in the capital Kampala on Monday, charged with offences including unlawful assembly, conspiracy and unlawful possession of election material. The East African country's veteran leader, Yoweri Museveni, was declared the landslide winner of the January 15 poll with 71.6% of the vote against his opponent, Bobi Wine, with 24%. The death toll from the tragic school transport crash involving a minibus taxi and a truck in Van der Bijl Park in South Africa's Gauteng province yesterday has been revised to 12. Gauteng Health and Wellness MEC Nomantu Nkomo Ralohugo has moved the correcting misinformation surrounding the tragedy following reports that the death toll had increased. The minibus taxi driver was transporting learners to school when he overtook several vehicles before colliding with a truck. The MEC has dismissed claims that more learners have died.
We wish to address and dispel the unverified reports suggesting that the number of fatalities from Van der Bijl learner transport accident has risen to 14. We would like to reiterate that the confirmed number of learners who tragically lost their lives and were collected from the scene remains at 12 as reported yesterday. While moments of crisis can often lead to speculation, the spread of unconfirmed figures and misinformation is causing unnecessary harm.
An unroadworthy bus travelling from Malawi to South Africa's Gauteng province has been intercepted on the N1 outside Bulugwane in the Limpopo province. Transport Department spokesperson Matome Dao Eyatswala says the bus was short of 2 wheels and has a copied disc that does not correspond with the vehicle identification number plate. Dao Eyatswala says the bus posed a risk to passengers and other road users.
The operating license had expired on July 31, 2025. Compounding the safety concerns, 2 wheels on the driving axle were missing, rendering the vehicle unroadworthy. The driver and operator will face further investigation and action.
This week marks Cervical Cancer Awareness Week globally, and experts are trying to raise the alarm to ensure more girls get vaccinated and women go for screening. According to Cancer Association of South Africa, cervical cancer is the second most common cancer among South African women, but the leading cancer of which women die. The National Manager for Health Programs at Cancer, Lorraine Govender, says cervical cancer can be successfully treated should it be detected earlier on.
The cervical cancer is the second most common cancer affecting women in South Africa after breast cancer. However, it is the leading cause of cancer-related death. So if you think about it, we say breast cancer is the most common cancer, cervical cancer the second most common cancer, but yet more women are dying from cervical cancer in South Africa. So we ask ourselves, why? Why is this so? Why is it the second most common cancer? And what is important for the listeners to note is the good news is this cancer can be completely eliminated.
Lastly, new research in Antarctica has found that penguins are breeding up to 2 weeks earlier because of climate change. Scientists studying a daily Gento and Chris-Trap penguin says the changes have taken place at a record rate. The BBC's Aline McCullough.
Penguins nest on snow-free ground in colonies which can extend to hundreds of thousands of pairs, and the latest research leaves no doubt that the birds are adapting their behaviour to changes in the environment. Teams from universities in Oxford monitored 37 penguin colonies over a decade, during which the temperatures recorded by their cameras rose by 0.3 degrees Celsius a year. They found the biggest behavioural change in Gen 2 penguins, whose breeding season shifted by 13 days on average and up to 24 days in some colonies. The scientists warned that the changes could threaten the birds' access to food or force greater competition between species.
For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nsinsi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
And coming up in your sports news this hour, more reports emerge on Papeti Au's suspension. And Yannick Sinner, the men's defending champion at the Australian Open, is into the second round of the Grand Slam. Details coming up at 12:30.
This is Africa Update, your pulse to the continent. Stories shaping nations and voices driving change. Stay informed, stay connected, right here on Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
It is 12:06 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, on OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores. You can also download the Channel Africa app on the Google and Apple Play stores. Now join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 at 406 9126 #Africa Update, and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +27 11 714 4459.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, today on #Africa Update asks, at least 118 people from Uganda's opposition party have been charged with various offences. Our question today is, what do you make of the latest developments there? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2783 288 6684. #Africa Update Us.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
The Greater Gauteng Learner Transport Organisation has pinned the blame for the Vanderbijl Park accident in the Vaal, which killed over 10 learners, on the driver's negligence. The organisation's General Secretary, Sibongile Masego, says the driver had proper documentation but failed to ensure safety. Maki Josephine Mukobo, a grieving mother who lost her daughter in the tragic Scholar transport accident in Vanderbijl Park, describes the moments leading up to finding out about the tragedy.
Yesterday morning, I received a call from one of my friends telling me that I must check my WhatsApp. There has been an accident that has happened in Vanderbijl Park. So when I checked my WhatsApp, it's where I found that the Scholar transport that my daughter was using, it was involved in the accident. It was a 4th day my daughter using that transport because she was doing grade 8 this year. The only thing that I knew, she was so happy to be in grade 8, and she told me that she had already met a new friend inside the taxi, and so everything for her is going so well, and she is enjoying using that transport. She did say to me, bye-bye. She called me girl. She said, bye, girl. See you later. And then I said to her, bye-bye, doll. I'll see you later. And before that, she asked me to do her lunchbox. And she was in a happy mood. I never thought this would happen to her because she was so happy that yesterday. She was in a very good mood. This morning it was hectic, especially when the alarm. I have to go to that room. When I get there was no one. And then I did receive, the committee was so supportive yesterday. And the ward councillor was here yesterday. And also, the only person who has not been here, it was only the owner of the transport and the other organization. I'm still waiting for them. Maybe they will come today. I don't know.
Mokobo says parents need to ensure their children's safety when using scholar transport.
We as a parent, we must always check if the driver has a license and the transport is roadworthy for our children to be taken to school. Because I was relying to that guy with all my heart to take my child to school and bring her back to me. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and it hurt me mostly because the owner of the transport is a chairperson of the scholar transport for the VAL. I'm broken. Really, I'm broken. I don't know what to say. I would like the parents and the organizations of the scholar transport to be too much for me. It's too much for me.
That was Maki Josephine Mokobo, a grieving mother who lost her daughter in the tragic scholar transport accident in Vanderbijl Park.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Flooding in Mozambique has impacted over 620,000 people and has caused widespread damage to roads and bridges, with rain expected to continue. Volunteers have been using small fishing boats to reach survivors, with access becoming increasingly hard. Our President Daniel Trapo cancelled his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos. And joining us now is Wilka Diaz, an activist and executive director for Decide Mozambique. Wilka, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Now, Wilka, just, describe the current situation in the country. It is a dire situation, and we'd just like you to give us a visualization very briefly.
The Mozambique are living one very dramatic situation for now, more specifically in the south of Mozambique, because we have two provinces and Maputo, Gaza, but Gaza is the most affected for now. We have more than 5 districts are affected, and now we see the capital of Gaza, Shashai, are suffering with the floods at this moment. Most concretely, the waters came inside of their houses, streets yesterday, more specifically in Shashai city. But we have other provinces, other districts are suffering with the same thing, like Gija, Shokwe, Shilembeni. We have people from in the Josina Machel Island, also on the top of the roofs, on the trees. At this moment, people will have you don't have nothing to eat during 2 days. So it's one very dramatic situation, and we don't have enough means to rescue the people on that all places. So it's very complicated. We have some delay on this at this moment. We have some people so denied to enter in the boats because have their houses, things inside reconstruction during these all years. So it's a terrible situation. We have only 6 helicopters for now, and 2 that helicopters came from South Africa, and others and the government pays some amount to rent that helicopter, so we don't have means enough to try to save dead people at this moment. So that is the reason we have a lot of people who need that support on these areas.
President Chapo has cancelled his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos. Government says about 40% of the Gaza province is submerged. What does this mean on the ground?
I think we have more because the most part of the districts and localities in Gaza right now cover, but the water cover that all places, the most part of the places in Gaza province. So I think we have more than 40% for now because it's like I said, yesterday we received new places. Before yesterday we received also all days we received the new places who are affected with the floods at this moment. So that is the reason I said right now I think we have more than 40% of the places are covered by water at this moment. So I think maybe in the next hours we'll receive more updates about it, but I think we have more, and on the ground that is a very big problem because our response on that type of humanitarian crisis is a very low, very critical. For example, in the accommodation center, the people there don't have access to enough food, for example, the water, and etc. So that is that point will create so many problems. I think not for now only, but on the next 5 days and maybe the next months, because we have a stage at this moment.
On Friday, Wilka, I know we were meant to speak, but we couldn't get a hold of you. What is the issue currently? I know today we're able to speak, but what's the situation with regards to the network and access to the internet for the people in Mozambique, especially in the impacted areas?
So on the impacted areas, we have the people there have access to the internet on some places. In other places, don't have access to internet and electricity. But also that is the reason, because sometimes it's very complicated to have some connections to that people in the specific places. Because electricity is one very big problem. But at this time, it's we understand we don't have. It's very dangerous if you have electricity on that places. So it's complicated. Internet. The most part of the areas have internet service, but the people don't have any place, for example, to put the phone on charge. So that is the reason the most part of the people use the text message to try to communicate it, to send the location, and after that we send that information to the local authorities to try to find that persons on that different places.
And just the people on the ground, the people who are affected, what are they saying? Because clearly
the people,
this is not the first time.
Yeah, that is not the first time, and it's not the reason. It's not the first time, but in other places, I think our government have a big is not have a big commitment to try to change that actual situation in Mozambique. In 2023, we suffer with the same thing in Buane, for example. But all years, for example, we're suffering with the same thing in Buzi district in Sofala province. But we don't find any solution to try to allocate it, that people for the different places. For example, the alert to remove that people came, for example, 2 hours before the floods. 2 hours is not enough to remove all things and to find one safe place. And the government said, okay, you need to go out of your comfort zone. You need to try to find one safe place. But the government don't create conditions to say, where is that safe place, for example? So we have so many problems, logistical problems, but problems in the communication, to communicate that people, but to prepare also the mechanisms to try to rescue people in the dangerous and etc. So I think the response of the government at this moment, it's very, very bad.
And I remember, but I think last year sometime where we spoke, not with yourself, but with another analyst, and speaking of, and another and a humanitarian, speaking of the same issue of the warning systems and how the warning systems had not been in place. What is government saying, and what is the Weather Bureau in Mozambique saying with regards to warning systems and reaction and to make sure that people are able to safeguard their property and to get to safer areas?
I think for now we don't have any information about the weather bureau, but in the other mechanisms, because I think our concentration right now is to try to rescue dead people. Maybe after that whole situation or the people in the safe places, we will start to discuss that subject, because it's very terrible, and I think it's a shame. On that century, we have all technology on our hands, ideas, and etc. We have students in the technological universities and etc. But we don't have any implementation on the ground. So we need to see what's happening, and what is the reason we don't have one effective system to try to prevent.
That'll work for everyone.
Yes.
Well,
we need to try to discuss.
We have run out of time and are going to have to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. That's Wilka Diaz, an activist and executive director for Decide Mozambique, joining us on the line.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Gaboo.
Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has now accused Rwanda of violating the peace deal. Are you surprised at this latest accusation? This is literally days after a signing, a ceremony, so to speak.
This is not surprising. I mean, if you ask Paul Kagame, he would also say almost the same thing. One should ask a question. The broker of the peace deal, President Trump, what is it that he wants? Why now? And why is this peace deal being signed in the Americas and not in the Great Lakes? Paul Kagame has never respected Tshisekedi, as often say. Tshisekedi must deal with the problems in his country. He has nothing to do with it. So this peace deal, obviously, when it was signed, one just looked at it and said, this will not last.
Kenny Matiba, former journalist.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download, free to connect. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
It is 23 after 12 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1. On Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 406 9126 hashtag Africa Update, and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +27 832886484. And we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa.
6 decades strong, Channel Africa continues to inspire Africa and the world, proudly sharing
the African perspective.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
As U.S. President Donald Trump wraps up his first year in office of his second term, relations with South Africa are at a low point. Trump skipped the G20 summit in South Africa following a disastrous meeting in the Oval Office with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa in May last year, accusing the country of a white genocide. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
Iranian, Russian and Chinese warships in South African waters to promote safety and trade, according to South African officials. Here's the commander of South Africa's Joint Task Force.
The theme of the exercise is joint actions to ensure the safety of shipping lanes and maritime economy activities.
But the exercises with three of the US's biggest global adversaries risks further American ire towards South Africa.
Death of people. Death.
That anger evidenced by a chaotic meeting in the Oval Office with President Cyril Ramaphosa in May.
This is one after another. This family was wiped out.
Where President Trump repeated false claims of genocide against white South African farmers.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
No, nobody can take land.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No.
The office of President of the United States.
In his first year in office, President Trump has also expelled the country's ambassador, boycotted the G20 summit in Johannesburg, cut humanitarian aid, and imposed 30% tariffs on South African imports. Todd Belt is the director of the political management program at George Washington University.
In terms of the tariffs, for Donald Trump, he sees tariffs like a hammer. He uses them for whatever he thinks, to try to influence drug trafficking, to try to influence immigration, to get whatever he wants out of different nations. And we've seen him be really scattered in his use of tariffs. What he likes to do is say, I'm going to put a tariff on you, and then we can do a bilateral agreement if you want a better treatment.
U.S. trade relations with South Africa continue to be shaky, as U.S. lawmakers are considering whether to extend the African Growth and Opportunity Act, a preferential trade program for some African countries. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed the bill, but there's still a possibility that South Africa could be excluded. Here's the Zambian ambassador to the United States, Chibamba Kanyama.
Something has happened between the USA and Africa. I'm using the word Africa, although we are different. The new administration is not interested to deal with Africa as a continent. They want to deal bilaterally. The House passed a bill on AGOA, which is a 3-year renewal period, which will be approved by the Senate very soon. And later on, it has to be signed, assented to by the president. And for me, that is where things may happen. It will most likely go through the Senate. But when it comes to dealing with the administration, I personally suspect the eligibility or the criteria thing will be strengthened. And it has to be dealt with at bilateral level.
And that's where things get tricky for South Africa, given its complicated relationship with the Trump administration. As the second year of Trump's presidency 2.0 begins, there's still uncertainty over where he will take both foreign and domestic policy. But there's little evidence to suggest that having reached historic lows during his first year in office, the US's relationship with South Africa is set to improve anytime soon. Kate Fisher, SABC News, Washington.
It is 29 after 12 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Today on #AfricaUpdate asks, at least 118 people from Uganda's opposition party have been charged with various offences. Our question to you is, what do you make of the latest developments? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2 +27 83 288 66 884. Hashtag Africa Update Asks. Our news headlines update.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. At least 118 members of the National Unity Platform Party in Uganda have been charged with offences, including unlawful assembly, conspiracy and unlawful possession of election materials, which is something that the party has denied. 81-year-old Yoweri Museveni was declared landslide winner of the January 15th election with 72%. The Gauteng Province Department of Education in South Africa has confirmed that the driver of the scholar transport vehicle, which crashed in Vanderbijl Park yesterday, leaving 12 children killed, has been taken in by police after he was discharged from hospital. And this week marks Cervical Cancer Awareness Week globally. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And a very good afternoon from the sports desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with the latest sports news at the Sawa. So Samuel Eto'o has come out in the defense of Senegal coach Pape Thiaw, revealing that he only also considered asking his Cameroon players to walk off the field during their match against Morocco. So Senegal lifted the title after chaotic scenes unfolded during the match on Sunday, when the Lions of Teranga briefly walked off the pitch after feeling aggrieved by the officiating, situation compounded by the awarding of a penalty to Morocco. Now, the incident sent shockwaves across the continent, with our play being halted for more than 10 minutes as a result. Now, Senegal boss Thiaw was seen signalling to his players to leave the pitch before captain Sadio Mane later persuaded the team to return and finish the game. Thiaw has been suspended by CAF for his actions. However, Eto'o has expressed sympathy for the Senegalese coach. Eto'o added that a similar suggestion was made to him during Cameroon's quarter-final clash against Morocco amid concerns over the questionable officiating in that game. While Senegal veteran midfielder Idrissa Gana Gueye believes the Lions of Teranga were deserved winners of the Africa Cup of Nations title on Sunday night. Now, Senegal aced the host side 1-0 after extra time in a fiercely contested final, a match also marked by high emotion as well as controversy on and off the pitch. The Everton midfielder admitted he was overwhelmed by the magnitude of the moment.
I cannot explain it because it's the moment. At this moment, we just feel really proud and very happy for what we did on the pitch. And we fight till the end for our country, for our badges, and today we are really happy to win these trophies again. We deserve it, and our country deserve it, and the young lads deserve it.
Now, Gueye talked up the squad after players stepped up when Pape Thiaw was forced to rotate due to a number of suspensions, injuries, as well as illness.
Yeah, we said it before the tournament, like we will need everybody. It's not 11 players who will win the tournament, but the groups, and we show it the last game when Kalidou get the yellow card and get injured, and every time the lads come, the young players come on the pitch, they deliver and they show like they have the character and they have the quality to defend our colours.
On to some cricket news now. Cricket South Africa have announced an inbound T20 international series between World Cup finalists, the Proteas women's side in India, that is scheduled to take place in Durban, in Johannesburg, as well as in Benoni from the 17th until the 27th of April. Now, the 5-match T20 series will get underway with 2 fixtures at the Kingsmead Stadium. That's in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province. That's on the 17th as well as the 19th of April. The action will then move to the Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg, where they will host back-to-back matches. That's on the 22nd as well as the 25th of April, before the series concludes with the 5th and final T20 match at the Willamore Park in the east of Johannesburg, in Benoni, by the way. That's on the 27th of April. Now, the series will also serve as the Proteas women's final official assignment ahead of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup, which begins on the 12th of June in England. At the global showpiece, South Africa have been drawn in Group 1 alongside Australia, Pakistan, India, as well as 2 teams from the qualifiers. And finally, Jenny van Dijk, the head coach of the South African women's national netball team, has named a 15-player squad for the upcoming 3-match test series against England's Vitality Roses in Johannesburg. The squad was finalised after a 2-day training camp, with Van Dijk also emphasising the importance of building depth ahead of the World Netball Cup. Now, she said the series starting on the 29th of January at the Ellis Park Indoor Arena will be the team's final international test before the Commonwealth Games. Netball South Africa President Mami Diale expressed full confidence in the squad, also highlighting the importance of strong performances against world-class opposition in front of their home crowds. It is 12:36 p.m. Central African time, and that's a wrap from the sports desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, do send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the next hour. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibu Di Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. As 2025 draws to a close, we pause to honor the spirits that connect us. The festive season reminds us of what truly matters: family, community, and unity. No matter where you gather or reflect, Channel Africa is with you, bringing you stories and voices that are shaped by the African perspective.
Something significant happened on this day. Asanda, you were a baby, I'm sure. I'm not even sure if you were born. No, you were. You were a baby, yeah.
Yoga. Matseko is still trying to convince me and look me
No,
over
I've done that already, and you're going to come now on the journey.
I will try.
From all of us to all of you, may your season be safe and peaceful. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
With your business news this hour, Matabela Mahape, good afternoon. World leaders in government, business and civil society are meeting in Davos, Switzerland for this week's annual meeting being held under the theme A Spirit of Dialogue. Team South Africa, led by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, says the message they are taking to the world at this year's summit is more positive than last year. Brand SA chairperson Ipileng Silele is in Davos for the World Economic Forum and speaks of Team South Africa's mission.
We are here to simply tell the world that we came here last year. We communicated where we are with regards to our national reforms. We are here this year to share the status of where we are, the good progress that we have made, and most importantly, to have proof points, particularly around infrastructure. As you know, and you might have noticed, the progress that Transnet is making. Also, Minister of Electricity is here with us, with the ESCOM team. They're also going to be talking about the reforms, the progress that they have made, and of course are busy meeting with investors.
Malawi's energy regulator has hiked the price of petrol and diesel for the second time in 4 months to prevent fuel shortages and preserve a scarce foreign exchange. Petrol has hiked by almost 42% to $2.90 per litre, while diesel was increased by 41% to just over $2.80 per litre. President Peter Mutharika, who returned to power last year, is trying to turn around the economic fortunes of the country. And Ghana's main mining industry body says that the proposed changes to how the country manages tax and royalty terms risk deterring investment and slowing output. Reuters reported that last week Africa's top gold producer plans to scrap longer-term mining investment stability agreements and double royalties under sweeping reforms. A draft bill expected to go to Parliament by March proposes royalties starting at 9% and rising to 12% if gold hits 4,500 per ounce or higher, roughly double the current 3 to 5% range. The changes, which the country's mining regulators said are intended to boost state revenue and crack down on firms abusing the terms of their licenses, meaning that stability agreements with Newmont, Angola Gold Ashanti and Gold will not be renewed. And Kenya has begun selling a 65% stake in its state oil pipeline company. The East Africa country is seeking to raise $825 million to what would be the country's biggest initial public offering in local currency terms. The sale is part of President William Ruto's drive to divest from state companies. The government is also reducing its stake in telecoms operator Safaricom. Japan's Prime Minister for Tourism, Yasushi Kaneko, says more than 42 million foreign visitors came to the country last year, setting a new record. However, in the last few months of the year, the number of Chinese tourists fell sharply. The fall in Chinese visitors was largely the result of a diplomatic spat between the two countries, linked to comments about Taiwan made by Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi. Tourism Minister Kaneko explains.
The number of visitors from China in December decreased by around 45% compared to the same month the previous year, reaching approximately 330,000. However, the total number of visitors from all countries and regions increased year on year for December, reaching a record high of approximately 3.6 million.
A look at your financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,419 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 23. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 30. And in Zambia, it's 20 kwacha 1. The BRICS countries, so $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 36. Russia, it's 77 rubles 37. India, it's 90 rupees 85. While in China, it's 6 yuan 97. And in South Africa, $1 is trading at 16 rands 41 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. A look at your commodities. Gold is trading at $4,716 and platinum at $2,384 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $63.83 a barrel. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business News, I am Matapela Mahabe.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126 and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with a community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
It is 12:43 Central African Time and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1 and send us your voice notes and comments and just let us know what your thoughts are on everything that you're hearing on Channel Africa and Africa Update, and use the hashtag Africa Update. You can also also send us your voice notes on +2783 288 6684. And just going back to the question of the day, we are focusing on Uganda, with at least 118 people from Uganda's opposition party having been charged with various offences. We want to know, what do you make of the latest developments? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your voice notes and comments on +2783 288 6684. #Africa Update Us.
Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa.
South Africa's Department of Basic Education has kicked off the 2026 Basic Education Sector Lekgotla in Boksburg, a town on the East Rand in the Gauteng province. Over the next 3 days, senior education officials, policymakers and sector experts will be reflecting on progress, addressing systemic challenges and planning for a future-ready education system. Our reporter Lebogang Mabange brings us the highlights from the first day.
The 2026 Basic Education Sector Lekgotla, hosted at the Birchwood Hotel and Conference Centre, is running from 20th to 22nd January under the theme Strengthening Foundations for a Resilient and Future-Ready Education System. Minister of Basic Education Siviwe Gwahube opened the discussions by highlighting the urgent challenges facing the country's schooling system.
We are constantly reminded about the fact that we've got a literacy and a numeracy crisis. This reality echoes throughout the schooling system, ultimately shaping matric outcomes and contributing to learner dropout. This is not merely an education challenge, in my view. It's a national emergency that demands urgent and decisive action. The evidence is unequivocal. The root of this crisis lies in weak early learning foundations from birth to 9 years. If we fail our children during this critical period, we fail them throughout the education journey.
The minister also addressed expectations for immediate results in the education sector.
Solution, therefore, begins with bold conceptual shift, one that recognizes early learning as the very bedrock of all future successes. People have been asking me, particularly in the wake of the matric exams, what are some of your quick wins? What have you achieved in this time? And the point I painfully make is that we are not in the business of ribbon cutting. We are not in the business of quick wins. We're in the business of planting seeds that will one day really shape the education system in the country.
International partners also weighed in, with Johannes Verdenig, country representative for UNICEF South Africa, stressing the gap between education and future workforce needs.
New industries are emerging just as fast as old ones disappear. Yet in many of our countries, too many young people are leaving school without the foundational skills, digital skills, or practical competencies that a modern economy demands. Children are learning, but not learning enough. They are completing school, but not prepared for work.
Education and innovation were also a key focus for Bladen Zamande, Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. He praised the dedication of teachers while highlighting the severe infrastructure challenges in many schools.
Educators are doing great work. They are really doing great work. I think we must give them a huge round of applause. My constituency does not have scholar transport in Pulu. There isn't any. None of those schools have got laboratories, and none of those schools, maybe one or two, have got libraries. How do we then expect to create future-proof education? We need to ensure, we agreed in my constituency, Minister, I want you to watch me on this, if I'll succeed. We agreed that all professionals who went through those schools must come back and act to support those schools.
Day 2 of the Lekgotla promises to be a major highlight as President Cyril Ramaphosa is scheduled to deliver a keynote address underscoring the government's commitment to building a resilient and future-ready education system. Reporting for Channel Africa, I am Lebogang Mabange in Johannesburg, South Africa.
It is 12:49 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on DSTV's audio bouquet channel 802, OpenView channel 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za, as well as on the SABC Plus app available on the Apple and Google Play stores. You can also download the Channel Africa app on the Google and Apple Play stores.
Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
Today on #AfricaUpdate asks, at least 118 people from Uganda's opposition party have been charged with various offences. Our question to you is, what do you make of the latest development? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes on +27 83 288 6684. #AfricaUpdate asks.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa. Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa. 6 decades strong, Channel Africa continues to inspire Africa and the world, proudly sharing
the African perspective.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Well, it is that time of the day where we say a happy Tuesday, and Tebogo Lekuleni of the Upside team coming all the way from KwaZulu-Natal, where he's on. Are you on board yet, the MSC? Hello, and what's happening there?
Hi, Lulu, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tebogo.
All right, perfect. Yes, we are currently we are at sea at the moment. There we go. Just increase my microphone so everyone can hear me properly. Yes, we are at sea at the moment on the MSC Opera Cruise. It's day number 2. Today is sea day.
Tebogo,
Sea day today will keep you up to date on the upside.
Okay, great. That's the Upside coming up from MSC cruise ship that is in the waters, and if I'm not mistaken, they're doing a number of places there from KwaZulu-Natal and towards Mozambique. A lot to look forward to from the Upside. That's where Tebogo Lekuleni will be broadcasting from, and Matseko Musito, that's the Upside team coming through from the top of the hour. Well, it is 12:54 Central African time. There's a very big story also unfolding or continuing with Robert McBride appearing before the ad hoc committee. And this is the Parliament ad hoc committee. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
So Mr. McBride, what is the upshot of all of this?
Is that the NPA itself, senior members, were also of the view that it was an incomplete report, and they said so in writing, and some even wrote the word draft. And it's therefore no surprise that when the additional evidence is added, which shows a different perspective on the matter, that the recommendations from IPUD would be that charges against Sibia and Dramat are not sustainable. There's no evidence to sustain it. So that's it. But it shouldn't be a surprise. Now, just for completeness sake, Chair, this matter has been ventilated in this august house before the portfolio committee, ad infinitum. It's on and on about it. When I requested that I should come and explain what's explained in the Zondo Commission, Mr. Bjerkman refused to let me come and explain the side. So they started a long process which then culminated in my suspension then, together with Werksman report. No consideration of the totality of evidence that was there. So, and it's not the first time, and it happens a few times. Honorable Chairperson, in this august house, it happens a few times when that happens.
Just explain to us, Mr. Bjerkman, those people who may not know who you're referring to.
Oh, Mr. Bjerkman was the executive director of IPUD before me, and also became a chair of the portfolio committee of police. Prior to that, he was a National Party member, and with the collapse of the National Party, he joined the ANC. It was during, I think, floor crossing period or something. So he was beholden to be told what to do, and so he closed his mind.
Honorable Sangoni.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Mr. McBride. Sorry, that sentence sounds incomplete. Through you, you said he was beholden to be told what to do. By who?
I reckon by my fellow comrades in the ANC, who had convinced themselves by whatever they were told by the then senior member of the ANC, Nkosinati Nhlego.
Honorable James.
Thank you, Chair. I raised my hand earlier on, I think twice. You didn't recognize me, and I'm going to go back to the same question because it's relevant now. You mentioned that there was a plot against General Sibia, and you mentioned that all the statements given was incorrect by the members within SAPS. Who were these members?
The people who made the false statements?
Yes.
So it was, I don't remember the names off by heart yet, but it was the same people, and that's what Kobe explained to me. At some stage, General Sibia, and here's where the problem starts, arrested General Mdluli, Richard Mdluli. And during the appearance of Richard Mdluli in the court in Johannesburg,
a number of armed people were putting the proceedings under surveillance, and Sibiya and his fellow officers approached him, and an altercation ensued, ultimately which led to the arrest of those people. And those people describe Sibiya in a particular way: a tall man in a grey suit and driving a BMW. Now that same description of him mysteriously comes up by the same people of crime intelligence. By the way, those people of crime intelligence, honorable member, they were crime intelligence members, and the name comes up again.
Robert McBride, they're appearing before the ad hoc committee and giving his, responses to questions posed to him by the members of the committee. Well, it is that time of the day where we leave it as Africa Update, and we will be back tomorrow. Continue with us on all our social media platforms. It's been a good one. Bye-bye.
60 years of broadcasting Africa to the world. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Welcome to a brand new hour. It is 1 p.m. in Central African Time. On Nzinzi, standing by with the news.
SABC News.